The next question is, how is the cell cycle controlled? Because we know that it is checking several information from the outer environment. It is checking several information from the inner environment. It makes a decision to go forward or not to go forward. Okay, there is a yes or no control, and if it goes forward, it should make sure several things. It's going to start a mechanism, and this is controlled, very well controlled. Any deviation from the cell cycle control. So if there is no control of the cell cycle, what you're going to see is a tumor cell. Okay. So this cell cycle control is mostly, or maybe entirely, we don't know yet, made of protein network. So it's a very large web of interacting proteins. So as of now, we know only a minority of these proteins. We are not sure how this protein network is working, how the cell cycle is controlled. This is why we're still not sure about cancer. We still couldn't find a cure for cancer, and a cure for cancer will never be found. Because first, cancer is not one single disease, it's actually a collection of diseases. It's a loss of cell cycle control. Second, let's go deeper in the collection of diseases. Any kind of loss in the cell cycle control will end up in cancer. Okay. In order to understand what is going wrong in the cell cycle control, first you have to understand how is the normal cell cycle control is done. So normally, how is it done? We don't know. So before we understand how the normal cell cycle control is done, what is the molecular pathway controlling this, we will not be able to understand what is going wrong in the cancer cells. So to understand cancer, we need lots of molecular biology, genetics, we need lots of bioinformatics, because this protein network is large, really large and really complex. And I said it's a collection of diseases because you're going to see different cancer types, let's say breast cancer and liver cancer. So these two cancers, they are behaving differently because what is going wrong in the cell cycle control of the breast cancer is different from the liver cancer. So these two, they have different mistakes, different problems in the cell cycle control. This is why the approach to cure these two diseases are quite different from each other. Actually, one cure or one drug that works perfectly in one case can be detrimental in the other case. It can be lethal even. So first you should understand the problem, and then you should continue or try to solve the problem. Before you understand what is wrong in the breast cancer, there's no point in doing that. And even in the breast cancer, there are several subtypes. Before you understand the subtype of breast cancer, you would not be able to prescribe the good cure. You will not be able to choose the good drug for that. And even if you know the subtype of the breast cancer, there are stages. Okay. Stage 1, stage 2, is it metastasized? So how are the cells behaving? Only and only when you understand the cancer cell in your hands, in your patient, is behaving in a specific pattern, you will be able to understand what is going wrong, and you will be able to prescribe a collection of drugs or an approach which is going to cure the patient. Otherwise, you're just gambling. Yes, you're going to cure a certain percent of the patients, but you're going to lose some patients because simply they have a different problem. They have a different mistake in the cell cycle control. Okay. And second, cancer is not a pathogenic disease. Like COVID, for example, it is caused by a virus which comes from outside the body. So if you get rid of the virus, you're going to cure the people or you're going to prevent the disease. That's simple. But if you talk about cancer, it is not something coming out of your body. We are talking about every single cell in your body. So the cells in your body, they are together, they are, you know, uh, in communication, they are in cooperation, they show altruistic behavior, and all together they make up the body. Okay. What if one of them, this guy, decides not to obey and just divide? Okay, he's going to divide. It doesn't want to cooperate anymore, and there is no problem in the division because anyway it has the genetic material required for cell division. I mean, the cell cycle control doesn't want to push it through the stages. The cell cycle control is trying to stop it from going on, because anyway, for a cell, the default makeup can push it through the cell cycle control easily. Okay, the default thing is mitosis. The default thing is proliferation. What it is trying to do is to stop the mitosis, stop the proliferation. So if it lost control, if it loses the stop of proliferation, it's just going to proliferate and it's going to make a tumor. Okay? And maybe it is going to go under a second change and it's going to metastasize, which means it is going to travel in the body, it will go invade other locations. Any cell in your body can do that. Okay? Tumor is kind of default behavior. I mean, if you think about our evolution 4 billion years ago, everybody was unicellular. The multicellular organisms evolved relatively recently, a little more than a few billion years ago. So for like 2 billion years, everybody was unicellular, and all the cells are programmed to proliferate as much as possible. So the cell who proliferates most, it survives in evolution. Okay, and at one point you put these cells together in a body. Okay, you combine them in a body and you're trying to stop the proliferation, but proliferation is the best thing they are doing, so you're kind of fighting with the nature of the cell. This is why every cell in our body has the capacity to make a tumor cell. This is why cancer is so difficult to fight with, and this is why we will never have cure for cancer. I mean, we can detect it at early stages, we can have perfect cures, but it will just, no matter how successful we are at medicine, it will just keep coming. Of course, we are going to develop better and better strategies to fight it, but there will be no age, I believe, that nobody catches cancer anymore. I mean, it will be always there, and as far as we know, any kind of multicellular organisms in the world, they have tumors. Okay, so enough of its philosophy. The take-home message is all multicellular organisms catch cancer, because this is the behavior of the cell. Okay, we know that there is the cell division, which is also called proliferation. Okay, and it has a speed. If the speed is, let's say, too fast, maybe it's a developing embryo, or maybe it's a tumor cell. So if it is too fast, it's a tumor, it creates a tumor. If it is too slow, it is not nice neither. It means the organism is not growing. If, for example, you have this problem in a child, the child will not get taller. Maybe it's going to stay as a dwarf. Maybe it's going to have other serious problems. It's just not growing. Or maybe in an adult, if the cell cycle is too slow, the person will start to age. I mean, it will start to lose tissues, muscles. It's not going to be firm anymore. So this is also not welcome. Or maybe if there is a wound, for the wound to get better, you need to increase the speed of cell cycle. So the speed of cell cycle should be well arranged. It should not be too high. It should not be too fast. It should not be too slow. It should be arranged according to the needs of the organism. This is why such a large protein network is working for it. So what we are going to do today here in the third video is to try to understand the basis of this protein network. Of course, we cannot go in too much detail, just a little bit sense of it.